Hello there, it's Oskar at Virtual Factura. This particular video is one of those that has been on the cutting board for way too long, for no other reason than other stuff just got in the way. Last year I did a video where I was showing off some fencing in Landsknecht Armour and people found it very interesting. Why? Well, partially because there's not much Landsknecht content out there, and that is of course a crying shame. But also because of the experiment that Tyne and I did. If you have a set of half armor, just as like a Landsknecht would be wearing, or any sort of other late medieval, early modern infantryman, and your opponent fights as if still all openings are valid, how often would you get hit? The answer, as it turns out, is not very often. This indicates that the armor that infantry are wearing is actually pretty good at keeping you alive. Who could have thought? In the intervening months though, I've been trying to turn this upside down by trying to do some rounds of sparring with people to try and actually see if we can bypass the protection offered by Landsknecht Armour. I'll eventually get to show off the sparring that I did with polearms such as pikes and halberds, and perhaps even things like dagger, but the one for now that really stood out, that deserves its own proper video, is fighting with a sword, but differently. Dungeons & Dragons has created the notion that there is a difference between a short sword and a long sword. This is not the case. There is just a sword. If you hold it in two hands, it's considered to be a long sword, and if you grip the sword with the offhand on the blade, it's called a short or shortened sword. Another term used is halfsword or gewappnet hand, meaning armed or armored hand. This way of fighting is meant to help a combatant find and defeat weak spots in armor, such as the visor, the armpits, palms and feet, and of course the groin. Normally when fight books describe this way of fighting, it's used against a fully armored opponent. But since we have found out that just regularly fighting against someone in half armor doesn't quite work, we thought it would be cool to just try half swording and see if that makes a big difference here as well. And it turns out it does. I managed to film a bout between Nick and me. The rules of the engagement were as follows. We start the fight holding the swords as regular, but try to go for hits just using half sword. We would treat my armor just as worn. But since Nick doesn't have armor, we agreed I would just go for roughly the same openings that my armor had. It turned out pretty interesting, as a half armor generally has way less coverage of weak spots than a full set of armor does. All the bits that are most susceptible to being hit are covered, yes, but the weak spots are massive. And it made it quite easy to just stab a sword through them. Added to that, with a full set, the weak spots are still covered by mail, whereas here it's just a few layers of fabric. Given that you can use your half armor to just tank a few regular hits as shown previously, it was a pretty good strategy to just close in and use half sword to quickly go for a good hit. But enough talking, let's watch the bout.
Okay. Ja, dat is wel, hè? Nice. Nog twee, ja.
And that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, keep in mind that the scientific value of these experiments is somewhat limited. It's more experiential, I would say. For instance, both of these experiments of mine that made it to YouTube were with different people and with different weapons, and that decreases the comparative value somewhat, I would say. Also, your mileage may just vary with regards to results. I don't know. But then again, if you have done something like this, let me know how it went. I'm always curious about stuff like that. That said, I think we can make something of an educated guess with regards to fencing and half armor. When I tried it, using half-swording, it worked quite well. It would make sense that it does. So I would expect that this is not such a crazy notion after all. As always though, further research is necessary. And if you'd like to support me in doing cool stuff like that, have a look at Patreon. Or of course, like and share this video. Anyway, I hope to all see you for the next one. And until then, okay doei.